I am so happy.
Adanna, these gifts are for you.
Thank you, my love.
Let me ask you something before we begin. Have you ever stood at the edge of a river and felt it? That pull, not the current, not the wind of the water, something deeper than both. Something that seems to come from beneath the surface, from somewhere that has no name in any language you speak. Something that feels almost like it is looking back at you. If you have felt it, this story is for you. If you have not felt it yet, listen carefully, because after tonight, you will never stand at the edge of moving water the same way again. This is not one story. This is three. Three people, three rivers, three deals made with things that live beneath the surface of the water. Three warnings passed down through generations of West African villages with the same instruction attached to every one of them. Never make a deal with a water spirit. Not for wealth, not for love, not for revenge, not for anything. And by the time I am done telling you all three, you will understand exactly why. Are you ready? Then come closer, and whatever you do, do not dip your hands in the water while you listen. Her name was Adanna. She was 21 years old, the third daughter of a palm wine tapper in a village that sat on the banks of a slow green river called the Odo. The Odo was not a wide river, not a dramatic river. It moved quietly through the landscape the way old things move, without urgency, without announcement, knowing it would still be there long after everything around it had changed. Adanna was not ugly. This is important to understand. She was not an ugly woman looking for something she did not have. She was ordinary, the particular kind of ordinary that in another world, in another village, in another set of circumstances, might have been called lovely. But she had two older sisters, and her two older sisters were extraordinary. The eldest, Ngozi, had a face that made the village chief's son forget his own name when she walked past. The second, Ifi, had a voice and a laugh and a way of moving through a room that made people turn to look and then forget what they had been doing before she entered. And Adanna was the one people looked past on their way to look at her sisters. She told herself it did not matter. It mattered. It mattered in the way that things matter when you pretend they don't, silently, constantly, like water wearing down stone from the inside. The market came every 8 days, and every 8 days the same thing happened. Young men came to the family compound with yams and cloth and intentions, and every 8 days those young men looked at Ngozi and Ifi and forgot to look at Adanna at all. She was 21, and she was tired of being invisible. And one evening, the kind of warm, thick evening at the end of the dry season, when the air itself seems to be holding its breath, she went to the Odo alone. She sat at the bank with her feet in the water, and she talked to the river. Not to any specific thing in the river, just to the river itself, the way people talk to the sky sometimes, or to the dark, or to whatever might be listening in the spaces between things. She said, "I am tired of being looked through. I want to be seen. I want to be the one they look at." The river moved slowly past her feet, and then it stopped. Not slowed, stopped. The Odo, a river that had been moving without pause since before anyone alive could remember, simply stopped moving. For 3 full seconds, the surface of the river directly before Adanna's feet became a perfect mirror. And in that mirror, she did not see her own reflection. She saw a face. Not her face, a face that had no age, a face that was made of river water and old light and something that did not have a name in human language. A face that smiled at her from beneath the surface with the particular smile of something that has just heard exactly what it was waiting to hear. And a voice came up through the still water, low and wet and cold. "I heard you," it said. Adanna should have pulled her feet out of the water. She did not pull her feet out of the water. "What are you?" she whispered. "Something old," the voice said. "Something that has been in this river since before your grandfather's grandfather's grandfather drew his first breath. Something that hears the things people say to rivers when they think rivers are not listening."
I know, child.
Will you help me?" Adanna asked.
Searching for you.
The face in the water smiled wider. "I will make you a gift," it said. 3 days from now, you will wake up and the gift will be waiting in your face. The men who walk past you will not be able to walk past you anymore. The ones who look at your sisters will look at you instead." Adanna's heart rose. "What do you want in return?" she asked. The voice was quiet for a moment. Then it said, 7 years. 7 years of what? She asked. 7 years of whatever I choose, the voice said. When the time comes, you will know what I want when I want it. Until then, the gift is yours. Adanna stared at the face in the still water. It was such a beautiful face. She said yes. The river began moving immediately, as if it had never stopped. The face was gone, the mirror surface gone, just the slow green Odo moving past her feet in the thick evening air. She went home. 3 days later, she woke up and looked in the piece of polished metal her mother used as a mirror. And she saw it. Something had shifted in her face. Not dramatically, not obviously, not in a way that anyone could point to and name. She was not suddenly more symmetrical or more structured or anything that could be measured, but something was different. Her eyes held something they had not held before. Her skin caught light in a way that it had not held before. Her face, when she turned it towards you, made you feel as if you were the only person in the room and the most interesting thing in the world. She had become the kind of beauty that cannot be explained, only felt. The next market day, Adanna walked through the compound, and the young man who had come for Ngozi turned to look at Adanna instead and could not look away. 3 months later, she was engaged. 6 months after that, she was married to a good man,
Thank you,
a kind man, a man who looked at her every morning like she was the most extraordinary thing he had ever seen. She was happy. She was so happy. For 6 years and 9 months, she was so happy. And then, on a Tuesday morning in the rainy season, her husband was sitting at the edge of their sleeping mat, looking at her with an expression she had never seen on his face before. She said, "What is wrong?" He said nothing. She said, "Look at me. What is wrong?" He looked at her, and his eyes, when they found her face, were empty. Not cold, not angry, empty. Like looking at a wall, like looking at something ordinary and forgettable. The gift was gone. She knew it immediately. The way you know when something that has been present your whole life has suddenly left, not gradually, not slowly, but between one breath and the next. She went to the river one more time. She sat at the bank. She put her feet in the water. Nothing happened. The Odo just moved past her feet, slow and green and indifferent. It had already taken everything it had come for. This is the first warning. What a water spirit gives, it gives on a loan. And when the loan is called in, it takes not just the gift, it takes your memory of living without the gift. And that memory is the sharpest kind of loss.